So let's go. Then I'm going to show you how to not only make your own website, but how to host it for free and how to and basically the basic usage of GitHub and the Git system. So the Git system is version control that allows you to basically upload different versions of your code. Kind of like the idea that when you're writing like a long paper, you don't want to just save like all in one document, because if you lose that one document, everything is awful, and it's hard to tell like the differences over time, like the progress you've made. So you push your code at different phases of your development process. That way you have like a safe copy out there, and you see the alterations you've made across time. So the first thing we're going to do is make an account on GitHub. Go on github.com, because that's going to be the place where we're going to push our code to, and it's going to allow us to freely host our software. So make a username. In this case, I'm going to make a Lorenzo example. I'm going to use like a random ass email. Make your password. It needs to include a number. It needs to be a certain length. Okay. So pretty straightforward. GitHub is actually basically free. Yeah, like there are payment options, but you're not going to need them. Most people actually use it for free, and it's automatically chosen option. And it's a great place because it encourages open source community, i.e. people sharing code together. So it's a great place to just like explore and discover new cool ways and like look up different ways, different things people are coding and the like. But today we're just going to use it not only as a place to store our code, but as a place to host our websites. So here's going to be like your profile, right? Like tells you everything, and that's going to be the first steps. Make a profile. Okay, then we're going to go to the terminal. We're going to make a new directory. We're going to call it example site. This is going to be very terminal heavy, so if you have not watched already the video explain to you how the terminal works, you need to do that right now. This works on Windows and on Mac pretty much the same way. So make a directory. Let's go into it. Okay, so let's make a file. We're going to make an index.html file and a style.css file. We're going to open them up with Sublime. And let's write some basic code on our HTML. Hope everybody remembers how that works. So you got HTML, then you got your head, and we're going to make a title, sample site. Then we're going to make a link, relationship style sheet. An href style.css, like we have learned to do. And then you make a body. Here's the h1. Oh wait, oh yeah, sorry. I normally use Jade, so I forgot that I need to do this. Close the head. Okay, so h1. Here's our sample site. Oh yeah, close h1. And then p, hello world. P, my name is Lorenzo. And bam. Yeah, let's save that. Let's go on our style.css. Let's put this over here on our Sublime that way. And we're going to say something pretty straightforward, pretty simple. P color blue. And that's basically all that we need. Am I doing the link correctly? I think so, right? Let's look this one. I think there's a parentheses, right? Links in HTML. This is embarrassing. I just haven't written vanilla HTML in such a long time that I honestly do not remember. And again, pretty much like at least 40% of programming is Googling at any level, because Google has like there's such a strong community in the programming community that explains things. So Oh, you know what? There's actually a faster way of doing this. Ignore what I'm doing. This does not matter in any way, shape, or form. I'm just going to take a look at it. Link. There is no. Okay. I see. I was making a mistake. So link ship style sheet. Href. Bam. We're good. We should be good to go. Okay. So save. Now that we made our file, right? Well, actually, I guess before, let's make. Yeah. So now that you've made everything, what we're gonna do is set it up as a Git repository. You just need to use this command called git init. What a repository is basically a section, a folder, a directory, whatever you want to call it. Basically, a space that is now going to be saved on your computer. That's going to record changes on your computer, and you need to initialize it as a Git repository. Git being the version control system, in order to be able to use the version control system and then use GitHub. It makes sense, right? GitHub, the Git version control system. So then you go. So now that we have initialized it, if you do something like git status and git basically it's going to say git whatever to do different things within the Git system. So git status tells you the status of things. So you have initialized your commit. There are a couple of untracked files that like we're not tracking for changes. Our index.html file and our style.css. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go on GitHub and make a new repository. We're basically making a folder online that we're going to connect to our local folder, so that GitHub is going to store our thing, is going to store our code. It needs to be the same name as your local file. So example site, call this sample site, and GitHub confirms it's available. You can make a description, sample whatever. And we're going to create a repository. Pretty straightforward, and it's going to give you instruction. In this case, we want to push an existing repository because it already exists from the command line. So the first thing you need to do is you need to copy this line. Git remote add origin site. What this is doing is remotely adding the origin, so like adding the connection from your local folder to the GitHub repository, the GitHub folder that's going to store our code. So copy and paste down the terminal within the directory where your code is. See? And then you do git status. Okay, nothing wrong happens. Same thing, we have non-tracked files. So now we're going to do git status, by the way, is your best friend. You always want to run it to make sure, like, wherever you are in the process. And this next sequence of things is going to be it's going to be pretty simple, but it's going to always be the thing you need to do in this particular order. So the first thing you want to do is git add, and you could say index.html to just start tracking index.html. What you normally want to do, the easiest way to go about it, is put a dot for everything. What we just did is we added to our tracking system any changes or any files that were previously not there when we last did it. So if we run git status, it tells you that, oh, we have new files being tracked and it's green, right? If it's not, it's because you're not using iterm and you're not using C shell, and that's for a different day. The next step, so after you run git add period, you run git commit m, and you write a message, in this case, initial commit. A commit, after you've added the files, a commit commits them, right? Like, okay, so after we have added these files to our system, for it to be in the system, we're going to commit them to basically stamp them and say, okay, so at this time, this is what it looks like, so that our system can now calculate, okay, how is it different from last time, the last commit that we have done. So you run git commit, tells you everything, create mode, run git status again. You should see that there's no longer the X because you have committed. And then the first time you want to run git push u origin master. Git push u origin master. And what we're going to be doing is, now that it's saved and imprinted in our system, we're going to push it to GitHub so that GitHub gets the code. So our username, or what was the username? It's kind of something random, right? Yeah, Lorenzo example, and then the password, and it's now pushing. It's sending our code to GitHub, and if we refresh, it will show you that under a profile, like Lorenzo example, under the file name example site, bam, here are 2 files. Look, here is our index.html. It's pretty great, to be honest, like, because GitHub basically stores all of your files and all of your code in any language you write it in. The hosting specifically, if you want to like run a website, it's like anything based in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, GitHub can host for you. Anything else, like if you're running like a Python app or a Ruby app or something like that, you want to use something. You probably want to use Heroku because GitHub needs an index.html file. If you click on it, I don't know why the internet is so slow. Let me try and move things. If you click on it, it shows you, yeah, there it is. See the file? Bam. Look at it. And it tells you when it was committed, like when we sent it. It's pretty darn awesome, right? So let's try just doing like another quick change, right? So let's add an H2. Here's the new change, and let's save it. Okay, so if we run ls again, you see it's telling us, you see this little X right here, it's telling us that there is a change. If you run git status, it's telling you that we have modified index.html. So what we're going to do is we're going to git added, run git status to make sure everything was added, everything is green, okay. Git committed, git commit, M stands for message, so you want to use -m. Chain, and you want to be specific, so added the H2 header to the index.html file. You always want to be specific with your commits because it helps if you're working with other people that you know why you change things. So now we have committed, you run git push origin master. So the process always is git add, git commit, and git push. So git add period, git add commit -m message, git push origin master. And then you can also configure so you don't have to do this process every time, like the login process. But I don't have time to do this right now. So you submit this stuff, and if we refresh, you will see, bam, added the H2 header to the index.html file because it's showing you like the latest commit message for every file. That's why you want to be specific. And if we attach the if we look at the file again, bam, here it is. It's so wonderful. Now the thing is, how do we want to host? How do we host it? You know, like how do we know what it looks like? Because we have learned that if we do open index.html, right, like it shows as a site. Yeah, but it doesn't allow anybody else to access it because we don't literally have a website. We can't really Google this, right? So here's what you need to do. You go to your GitHub, and on branches you type it in this exact way. GH, short for GitHub, -pages. And yep, this branch is okay. So you've created GH pages branch. Then you go back to your terminal, right? And now that we've created like a new section of our folder, GHP is going to be the section that is going to have all of the code that's going to be published online. And you're going to see how it works in a little bit. What you want to do is you do git checkout. If it's the first time, you do -b and GH pages. You see how it changed from master to GH pages? So you look at ls, right? You do git pull this time, origin master, and it's going to pull all of the code from your master repository, from your master branch, which is where normally you push your code, into GH pages, right? So it's up to date, awesome. But just in case, to practice, just because this is just special occasion. Normally you always want to do this. You want to do git add, git commit, initial commit for GH pages, and then git push origin. And this time, instead of master, because our branch is GH pages, we do git push origin GH pages. And then we type in our login info. And there it is. So if we refresh, GH pages, says the latest commit was 3 minutes ago. Awesome, everything update, wonderful. Now go to settings on your GitHub repository. Scroll all the way down to GitHub pages. Your site is published at this URL. Open it. You see Lorenza example.github.io example site. So it's going to be your username .github.io / the name of your repository. And here's our website. Whoa! It's pretty great because now you can very simply push your code, your finalized code, onto GitHub, make a GH pages branch, and this is exactly this is basically a regular website. It has a fixed URL that you can send to people. Because if you just do what we were doing last time, like open index, to go back to master, you do git checkout master, right? If you do just open index.html, you can't send this because you don't have a local copy of the file. How are you going to show it to people? Now that it's officially on GitHub, it's hosted just like any regular website. You can even register with Google or whatever search engine, and it will show up. And so that's basically it. So it's always going to be on your settings, GitHub pages, and a good practice to do is you want to copy this URL, go back to your main, and then click edit. So we have the description right here, and it also allows you to put the URL there, hit save. So from now on, it's going to be automatically up on your repository. Bam! So as a quick review, you want always whenever you make changes and everything, you want to run git add period, git commit whatever message, and git push origin master, right? I'm going to do that now. And once you're done with that, you do git checkout GH pages, you git pull from origin master, and then you do the same process: git add, git commit, git push. Till you go back to master, and git status is always your best friend because it tells you how your repository is doing. And remember, to make a repository, you run git init. Never do it for like your home folder, like right here. Never run git init from here. Make a separate directory, make a separate folder, and then make it a GitHub repository. And yeah, now you know how to make websites and how to make your own blog and everything. Enjoy!